And even if you are proest of pros, if you neglect skincare, your makeup is objectively going to fail, because the makeup sits on the skincare products. With capitalism, like, a lot of things are pushed to us and we don't actually think about, okay, what's the value of this? Where I usually put my concealer is exactly where he mentioned, the forehead, bridge of the nose, and I bring my concealer here around the nose, down here, and on the chin. So essentially the center of my face, and then the darker products go around the edges of my face, because I want to bring my face, like, make it like snatched.
Why do people need makeup? Makeup. By estimation, this year alone, you, your family, your friends, or even a stranger on the street will contribute to a booming industry worth over $120 billion, and it's growing fast. But what exactly is makeup? How do you use it? Is there a right way to apply it, especially for beginners? And what pro tips should you know? In this episode, in honor of the International Women's Day, I sit down with Natalie. Natalie Keyyy is a Canadian glam makeup artist who knows all the tricks to make makeup easy and fun. From must-have products to pro tips, she breaks it down in this episode step by step, whether you are a beginner or just looking to up your game. This conversation may be especially important for those who, like me, don't really understand makeup. Ready to glow? Listen in.
So maybe if someone has insecurities, maybe I have like dark spots on my skin, and maybe I see advertisements about, oh, if you have dark spots, you need to buy this.
Natalie?
Yes.
Why is it important to you that you do what you do?
Thinking of where I've come from, I would have loved to have someone guide me or take my hand as much as I have tried to for like many younger Black women, especially maybe as a makeup artist, because I wasn't really wearing makeup as a child, so I started wearing as an adult and I didn't really know much when everybody else knew how to do theirs. So I think I would have really loved, and it would have helped if I had found someone who's like catering to, beginners and people who just don't know how to go about their makeup at all. Looking back, if I was maybe 18, 17, I think I would have loved to see myself or someone like myself have done the same thing.
And thank you for what you do. I think very many people out here are going to appreciate what you're doing for them.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. It warms my heart, actually.
Great. Folks, if you are new to this show, this is the Couch Connect. Over here, we hang out with people like Natalie and talk about the science and art in everyday life experiences. So do subscribe to this channel and like this pod, and don't forget to tell your friends to tell their friends. And I promise you that I will continue getting better at what I do and continue having great conversations with amazing people like Natalie here. Today's conversation is going to be about makeup. I want us to break down makeup in all its forms with Natalie today, because I think that I haven't understood what goes behind the making of faces to look as pretty as Natalie's face looks today. And so we're going to take it away from here. Is sunscreen normally worn before makeup or after makeup, or beneath makeup or on top of makeup?
That's actually a very good question. Honestly, it can be both, but it's much easier to do it before, which I do. Like, I do my sunscreen as I'm doing my skincare. It's the last step of my skincare, and I give my skincare products some time to sit before I actually go in with the makeup. So I use the sunscreen that you rub on the face, but like there's some people who use sunscreen, the spray kind of sunscreen, and they can put it on top of their makeup just to protect their skin. You can do that. It's but I find sometimes that can change the final look of your makeup. Like maybe it leaves like patches of like the actual spray on your makeup, so it can be a bit messy and a bit risky. But yeah, you can do it before. After, if it's after, you're definitely going to have to use the spray. If it's before, you can either use the spray or the lotion type. I prefer to use the lotion.
You just talked about skincare here for a moment. I want you to tell me, what is this skincare? I hear girls talking about skincare all the time. My wife talks about skincare, and when I expect people to be talking about skincare, it's, it's the entire skin, including the hands, the legs and the thighs and everything.
Valid.
And the integumentum, that's what they call it. That covers the entire body. But all that I see people doing with skincare is their face. So why don't you guys call it, facial care or something like that? Why do you call it skincare?
Valid. I can't even refute what you just said, because yeah, very, very valid. I guess it's just how it's been marketed to us, and we've already also taken it. We call it body care. Now those shower products, body scrubs, we call that body care, and then for the face, skincare. But what you're saying is actually very valid.
Do you start off makeup by doing skincare first?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Your makeup cannot, and even if you are proest of pros, if you neglect skincare, your makeup is objectively going to fail, because the makeup sits on the skincare product. So the skincare products are there to, deal with your skin, protect your skin, and you make sure that the makeup has something to sit on, because if it's just sitting on your skin, you're likely going to use powders. It's gonna dry you out, it's gonna crack, and it's most probably going to damage your skin. So your skincare products make sure that your skin is protected before you go on with makeup, and it really helps with how radiant your makeup is going to look, because you can see maybe a glow from within. Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you something. I'm hearing you talking about all these things that you should do to your skin because it's going to break and it's going to do stuff like that. I'm going to tell you my secret. Maybe it's not a secret, but ever since I was born, the same thing that I do to my hands, the same thing that I do to my face, since you're calling it skincare. I have my shower gel, and the same shower gel that I use all over my body, the same shower gel that I use on my face. And that is what I've been doing for the past many years. And I don't seem to be cracking or anything happening to my face. But maybe the reason why I do this is because I've never seen or understood the importance of skincare. What is the importance of skincare that you would tell to somebody like me, who for years has never considered that to be important, and all they've been doing is, using their shower gel, their body wash on their face, or their soap on their face, and the rest of their body as well?
Okay. Yeah, so I'll definitely start with like what you talked about before, sunscreen. I think sunscreen is the most important it's one of the most important, because it does protect your skin from the sun, which has there's a lot of UV rays that play a big part in causing even more damage to your skin. So sunscreen, I think, is the most generalized products that everyone can use, and a lot of us can get value out of it. Honestly, I feel like you're very right when you mentioned, because my brother does the same thing. Like, he just has he doesn't really need cleanser, because my skincare products are so many. I have niacinamide, I have hyaluronic acid serum, I have moisturizer, I have snail mucin, I have sunscreen, I have retinol, I have vitamin C, so many. And I think there's a time, we always talk about it, actually, the way men can just use one soap and water, and that's it, and maybe Vaseline on the face, and then also with eyebrows. A lot of men have good eyebrows, and then us, we're doing everything, threading, we're shaving eyebrows to shape them, but for them it's just they really don't care, and they're the ones who are given the things we actually want. So I do think that there's also a lot of, with capitalism, a lot of things are pushed to us, and we don't actually think about, okay, what's the value of this? So maybe if someone has insecurities, maybe I have dark spots on my skin, and maybe I see advertisements about, if you have dark spots, you need to buy this, and then after that you need to use this, and then after that you need to buy this and this and this, and I'm not necessarily thinking about what value are these products adding to my skin, is only mostly because it's marketed as this and this and this and this and this. Use them all together so that you target those dark marks. So I do think there's, at some point, we do spend a lot of money motivated by a lot of skincare companies who know exactly what they're doing with their marketing, for people who are very vulnerable to such information or ads. Like I gave an example of, for example, me who has like dark marks. So I think before I started doing like makeup and, you know, getting into like skincare, I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos from dermatologists and estheticians who are certified to talk about such products, and they tell me, this product does exactly this and this and this, and use it with this one because it does this and this and this. So at the end of the day, I'm not wasting a lot of money, and also I'm very cautious and conscious about what I'm putting on my skin as well as clients, because I also put like skincare products on clients who I need to do makeup on.
Okay. You've talked about a couple of things here as I was listening to you among your products. And I was listening to, you know, one of the things you mentioned is snails. Did you say snail serum?
Snail mucin serum, yeah.
Snail mucin serum, isn't that like, you know, the mucus that is produced by the snail? So people put that on their face?
We do.
Did you guys know that?
I'm sure most ladies watching, they're like, yeah.
So you guys actually put snail mucus on your face. Okay. I learned that today. I heard of hyaluronic acid. So you also put hyaluronic acid on your face. But this is very interesting to see that these are stuff that you guys are actually using on your face.
Please.
So you actually go and buy niacinamide as a product by itself and use that on your face. Okay. So let's talk about cleansers. Is there a difference between a toner and a cleanser?
Yes, there is a difference between a toner and a cleanser. So cleanser is meant to, you know, wash impurities off your face if you have maybe makeup, or you've just come from home, long day, and you just want to wash off whatever is on your face. And then toner is meant to balance the pH on your skin, especially after you've used a cleanser. Some toners are usually hydrating and have like properties that bring back balance for your pH, because maybe you've stripped your skin of some nutrients when you are cleansing your skin. Some cleansers could be very harsh on the skin when they are washing off dirt from your face. So yeah, a toner can be used to clarify maybe after you've used your cleanser, and also balance pH, and at the same time hydrating. Just depends on which ones you get.
So it's important that you've balanced the pH of your face. Why is that important?
It's very easy for your skin to get irritated, especially if you're going to use very powerful, or let me say strong products after cleansing. Maybe like vitamin C is a very powerful skincare product, or niacinamide, or things that maybe are meant to target, like niacinamide can be used to target like dark marks. So you need your skin to be at bay, like however it was first, before you start putting things like that.
What is the best age to start wearing makeup?
Good question.
The reason why I'm asking this is, and I want you to also talk about, you know, all this cleansing and all this toning and all that, because I'm hearing you saying that we're going to be adding things to my face. And I'm just wondering, is it okay for my 13-year-old, for instance, to use these products on their face? Is it okay for my 18-year-old to use it on their face? They're my 21-year-old. So what would be a general idea for a good age, to start using these products on someone's face?
For makeup, I don't know if I can give you a straight answer, but I'm going to say that, well, I personally started like doing my makeup as an adult, maybe like close to adult, maybe 17, 18, 19 years old. That's when I was starting to learn. And it's because I personally wasn't really allowed to wear makeup when I was a child. And I think that did a lot of good for me, because I was more concentrated on just like, protecting my skin. I'm not going to give a straight answer, but I'm going to say that I think maybe 18 is a good age where you're starting to get to know, like you have interest in learning what exactly is this product doing, because I feel like when I was like younger, I was just like seeing ads and seeing videos of people putting on makeup. I don't exactly know what they're supposed to do. I just know I want to look nice, so yeah, I think maybe towards adulthood would be an ideal age.
You have told me that you weren't allowed to put on makeup when you were young, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think that there's very many people who are not appreciative of makeup. I'm probably one of those people. I never understand makeup. I don't understand why people wear makeup. And I mean, I see people wearing it and I tolerate it, but I don't see the need for makeup. But I'd like you to educate me and maybe other people out there who are watching this and tell me, why do people need makeup? Somebody's going to say that, makeup can bring structure to your face or, stuff like that. But maybe fundamentally, there's a question that you can answer that probably also led you to start wearing makeup when you were 18 years old. So why do people need to wear makeup, or why do people wear makeup?
Speaking as a makeup artist and maybe someone who's also a consumer of makeup, I don't think we need makeup. I think a lot of us, I have so much fun. You'll hear this a lot. Like people say makeup is fun, and honestly and truly, it's not just like an answer that we're practicing. It is really fun doing your makeup. Like it's just, I spend a lot of time with myself doing my makeup, and I notice things about myself doing my makeup. So I find that process fun. And speaking now from a makeup artist point of view, sometimes like when a client comes to you and they want their makeup done, some want it for a graduation or something, it's makeup does like it brings like a lot of life, especially into photos. When people want to be photographed, for example, for their graduation, for their weddings, whatever events, a lot of people who actually don't wear makeup do consider wearing makeup only for such occasions, because it does photograph very well, as long as the makeup artist knew what they were doing. Most women will give you the first answer that I said, like it's just fun to do. But like if it reaches a point that someone like needs makeup and you maybe don't feel comfortable walking outside the house without makeup, I think that does have a lot to do with, maybe now we can say, maybe insecurity about how someone looks. And in that case, I would say like makeup can be harmful in that sense, that like it makes you feel like you only feel presentable or beautiful when you have makeup on, in that sense. But I don't, for most of the time, like when women are wearing makeup, we're not thinking about, I need to look good for this specific, because it takes a lot of time. Honestly, it takes quite a lot of time to do your makeup. It doesn't make sense to do it for other people. You go through a lot. You go through a lot to only like appease people. So I wouldn't say like most of us, like it's not really a thought that I want to look good for people.
How long does it take you to do your makeup again?
Depends on what I'm doing. What I'm wearing today is like considered natural makeup, and this.
So there is natural makeup and unnatural makeup.
No, there's natural makeup, and then there's like full glam makeup. That's now like a lot of makeup.
Okay, so we'll go back to that. But yeah, so you're telling me how long you take?
Yeah, this one takes me roughly 20-25 minutes. But if I'm doing like a full face, I'd give myself an hour, 40 minutes to an hour. Then when I'm doing on a client, I usually give them 1 hour to 1.5 hours just to be safe.
Okay. So you just told me right now that there is natural makeup and glam makeup. So can you tell me the difference between those again?
Okay, yeah. Anytime you hear glam, it means it's more makeup, like quite an amount of makeup. That's soft glam and full glam. There's also natural glam, and most of the time that's when you're getting it done by a makeup artist. Like you come to a makeup artist for them to do your makeup, but you tell them I want it to look natural. And it's going to be quite an amount of makeup still, but like we do it in a way that makes it like you can kind of still see your skin peek through. But now when you go to soft glam, it's more makeup, and then with full glam it's heaps of makeup, but like it's blended in and still makes you look like yourself. Well, most of the time full glam you're gonna look different.
So full glam is the one where you can't open your phone with your facial recognition because your phone can't recognize you anymore.
Well, I can. But
no, I'm only saying this because I had a friend a couple of days ago, and they tried to. So we were hanging out, and they're like, "Hey, Joe, pass me my phone." I passed them their phone, and they tried to open their phone with their facial recognition. Their phone couldn't recognize them.
My friend told me the same thing as well. Like, oh, my phone doesn't recognize. Yeah, so full glam is a lot of makeup. The natural glam is it does. This is what I'm wearing. Like I'm wearing makeup, especially, but on camera it does look even more natural than it is in person. In person, makeup is much more than what you can see on camera, because it's very hard for cameras to pick up makeup. So for a makeup artist, we keep that in mind. If you tell us, I usually ask if you're going to take photos, then I would add more makeup so that I make sure that the camera can pick that up.
Okay. The way you do makeup on yourself, is it any different as compared to the process of doing makeup on other people when you're doing this as a makeup artist?
I'm so happy you're asking that question, because I've never received that question, and I noticed the first time I ever did makeup on someone, it was so different. I was confused actually, because most of the time I'm used to my features and I do makeup on myself quicker because I'm so used to it. But like on other people, I had to find like angles, like, you know, bend this way to do the eyebrows, and then tell you to move, put your face like this so that I can see. It's very, very different, and you're only going to know it when you try on someone else.
So walk me through this process of doing makeup, whether it's on yourself or other people. I want to believe it's going to be the same steps, right? So you started off by telling me that the first thing you're going to do is to cleanse the face by using all this snail mucin mucus. Is that what you called it?
Mucin.
Snail mucin. Yeah, so it's by using snail mucin and hyaluronic acid and niacinamide, which is what I wrote down, and many other things that you use to cleanse the face. And then you do a toner on the face.
Okay, so it's a bit different for when I'm doing on someone. When I'm doing on someone, I just use, have you ever heard of micellar water? It's a cleansing agent. It's almost like a cleanser, but it's not like foamy or soapy. It's just like, just put it on a pad and then I can like remove.
Does it have alcohol in it, like ethanol? Well, I haven't heard of micellar water. I was comparing it to something they use in the lab, which is the Milky water, but I guess that is different.
Almost like a makeup remover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it has some properties, some of those solvent properties in it. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing you would do.
Yeah, because most of the time someone thinks, oh, let me just do my skincare, and then she's just gonna do the makeup. No. Even if you used products that are worth $200 in the morning, I'm going to remove it because I need to be sure of the steps I'm taking. Like, I don't know exactly how the products you use work with the makeup products that I'm going to use on you. So I have to cleanse and then start from scratch now. Cleanse and then hydrate, and then as we go. So
you've used the micellar water and then you've cleansed and toned. And then what do you do from there?
And then now I start hydrating. Usually I take like you can use like a hydrating spray or something like that, but I just use water. So I have like a spray bottle. I'm going to spray a bit of water on your face because the products I use most of them are humectants, so they kind of they use moisture that is already on whatever surface you're putting on to maintain that moisture there. It's not that they are the actual hydrator, because I think a lot of people usually think moisturizer is what you just wash your face and put on moisturizer. Moisturizer is meant to lock in the moisture that's already on your face. I can put sunscreen, but most of the time I actually don't put on sunscreen on my clients, because sometimes sunscreen is one of the things that can mess your makeup, especially in under lights when you're taking pictures. You guys have ever had the term flashback, and it's when like you take pictures and your makeup looks so off. Maybe you look very light or something and your makeup is just looking off.
I have seen that a couple of times.
Yeah, it can be sunscreen. So some sunscreens do cause flashback. So a lot of makeup artists try to avoid doing that, because you can't be too sure with sunscreen. If you maybe find your makeup looks off and you're like, I'm doing everything right, chances are it could be the sunscreen that you're using is messing up your makeup under lights, very bright lights. It could be that. Then now we move on to primer, which it separates your skincare from the makeup. So now you're done with your skincare. It acts as a barrier between your makeup and your skincare.
Is it possible to avoid the primer at all? What if I don't put the primer there? What's going to happen?
Yeah, so you can definitely not use primer, because today I actually used primer, but I didn't use primer today because I forgot. That's the only reason. I'm very much a primer girly. But primer, depending on what you want, some primers are different, because I personally have dry skin, so I use hydrating primers, meaning like I make sure it brings hydration and moisture before I put on my makeup, because if I'm going to use powders, it's likely gonna make my makeup crack, maybe because there's not enough moisture on my skin. There's primers for oily skin that are meant to control oil or maybe even sweat. Some people sweat a lot. I usually sweat during the summer, especially on my forehead, so I usually use a sweat sucking primer during the summer. So it really depends with what you're going for. Some primers are meant to blur the skin or blur the pores. So if you have like big pores, some primers are dedicated to blurring those pores to make them look smaller. So it can depend. Some people just don't use primers at all and their makeup stays, it's okay. But honestly, I find depending on the primer, again, primers can elongate the length of how good your makeup looks. Like it can make your makeup look good for a much longer time than if you didn't put on primer.
Okay. So did you say that they block pores? So is this the pores that sweat comes out of?
No, they controlled. No, you're still going to sweat.
Okay.
But the sweat, it's not going to affect your makeup, because if you sweat, it's likely gonna, like a streak of sweat is just falling as it drags your makeup. Those primers, you can still sweat, but you're going to sweat and your makeup is going to stay intact.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So after the primer, then you start putting on the makeup. So how do you do that?
So yeah, after we've done with the primer, now one important thing that people overlook is the time that you give in between steps. And that's why makeup artists take long to do your makeup, because we understand that we need to give products time to do exactly what they're supposed to do. Because if you go on layering product after product on each other, they're not going to do anything, and it's likely that you're going to peel, because there are different formulas, you're mixing all of them together. So I usually it's advisable to use a fan. Like I have a fan that I put on your face so that the product can dry faster. So I usually let from skincare to primer, I usually give it maybe 3 minutes. And then from primer to makeup, I usually give it about 7 minutes. And that time I'm usually doing the eyebrows. So I'm doing something else as I let the primer sit. Then foundation, contour, concealer, blush, just step by step.
Okay, so walk me through that. So what is foundation? What is contour? What is concealer? And what is blush?
Foundation I think it's the most common. It's what a lot of people know. It's a complexion product, and it's what now you use to match your that's what you match to your skin. So as a makeup artist, now this, I usually don't say this in my videos because it's it varies from makeup artist to makeup artist where to match your foundation to, and because that's like something a lot of people struggle with. It really does depend. There's no straight answer to that, in my opinion. So sometimes I can match the foundation to the face. I just and I usually have, as a makeup artist, it is, I'm gonna say, mandatory for me to have adjusters in my kit, where like I don't have foundation shades for everyone in the world, but when you come to me, I should be able to cater the foundation to you using now the adjusters. I use color theory, which is now for Joab. If Joab, his wife, if she comes to me and asks me to do her makeup, I may not have her foundation shade in my kit, but like the ones that I have, I can mix them along with other adjusters. Maybe I need to add white to make it a bit lighter, or maybe I need to add blue to make it a bit cooler to match her. So so I do that. I usually mix and then I get the perfect shade. I can either match it to the face or I can match it to the chest, depending on what you're wearing. If you're going to wear something that your shoulders are out, maybe it means this part of the face, this part needs to match the face, because you can't have a floating head. Like maybe maybe your body is lighter than your face, so I can't make the face darker than the body because it just doesn't match. So maybe I would match the foundation here, despite it being maybe that foundation that I've matched is lighter than your face. I'm still going to do it because I want you to look like one color all round. So it really does depend. Sometimes I match it here, sometimes even the neck, sometimes maybe it's darker than the rest of the face, then I would match the foundation here, and so here and here are the same color, and then I drag that foundation onto the neck, so you're all one color at the end of the session. So yeah, that's just a base product to make sure that you're one color all round. And then now that sets a base for the next products that I'm going to use, which are now bringing color back to your face. Most of the time we are not just one color. We have maybe hyperpigmentation, which is like maybe you're darker in some areas naturally because you're a person of color. Maybe your neck is darker, or maybe here around your forehead you're darker naturally. So foundation sets like it's just one straight color, and that's not normal. Like you'll just look off. Like it doesn't come natural to you to be just one color. So I need to pay attention to that and emulate that even with makeup. So I would use now this one is there's contour and bronzer.
Okay, just before you get to that, I'm going to ask you, I learned about something called a skin tint. So is a skin tint would that work with the foundation? Would that be part of the adjusters? What would that be?
Who's teaching you these things?
So before I come to the show, I actually do some research on the subject to understand it before I, talk to somebody about it, because I also got to understand what you're talking to me about.
I like it. Okay, so a skin tint it's almost like a foundation. It's also a complexion product, but it's much lighter than a foundation. And skin tints are mostly used in like hot weather. Maybe it's summer. Foundation sometimes can be way too heavy. Like it just feels like you move your face and you can feel the foundation on your face. Or maybe the foundation itself is too oily, so it's just you're sweating, your oil is already producing on your forehead, and then maybe you're sweating and the foundation is just too heavy. So skin tints are much lighter. They're much watery. When you like put it on your hand here, you'll just see it like going down, as opposed to foundations tend to be much heavier to maybe just stick there because it's very thick. So skin tint it's also a complexion product. Does is almost the same thing as a foundation, but it's just lighter and doesn't have as much, it won't cover as much as foundation would.
Okay.
So if you like natural makeup, or you just like makeup that's not very detectable, I think you would like a skin tint because it's very light. It doesn't cover as much as foundation does.
Okay. All right. So let's go on to, we're talking about the contours and the bronzers. So let's go on there.
So contour and bronzer, which is a very common question. So contour tends to mimic shadows. So naturally, especially here on the cheekbones, a lot of us do have like, I have makeup on right now, so you wouldn't really see that. But
You can use me as an example. Do I have whatever you're trying to describe? Okay, my headphones probably covering it.
actually, yeah, I can kind of see it.
Okay.
Okay, here, like on the cheekbones,
Yeah.
right here, like there's usually some dark. It usually looks a bit darker than the rest of the forehead. The rest of the face, sorry, for a lot of people. Some people you may not necessarily see it. So contour tends to mimic those shadows, and contour you don't use a lot of contour because it does bring shadow. It's very dark. You use very dark and very like almost grayish kind of products. So you use them on very specific places. Most of the time it's here, and when you do that, when it brings a shadow, it makes you almost look thinner. Makeup does different things. So maybe if your face is more round, this would make your face look more like snatched, like almost like a model. So contour does that, while bronzer warms up your face. So I've used bronzer today. I don't know if you tell on camera, but like here, around here, it looks more orangish, brownish than the rest of my face. And that's to bring more warmth because, as I said, I used foundation, which just gave me a blank canvas, like I was just one color. And now bronzer is bringing that color back into my face, like now making me look more natural, the way I usually do without makeup, because like around here, it's usually a bit darker. So I try to emulate that with bronzer. So bronzer is just for warmth. If you want especially to go on holiday in the sun, bronzer looks so nice in pictures because it's very orange, it's very warm, it's very brown. So it really brings out that warmth on your skin and it looks very nice in photos. Contour is mostly used in like this type of lighting where it's like photography, like maybe you're a model or something, you're in a dark room or something. Contour really picks up very well on camera because those shadows, it's gonna look nice in pictures because it's gonna, give you those kind of effect. Yeah,
a snatched face.
Snatched face, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think next we're gonna go to concealer. Concealer
is it's literally to conceal if you have dark circles, because today I
what are dark circles?
Dark circles are, now I talked about hyperpigmentation before. It's when you have maybe a certain area of your face is darker than the rest of the face, and a lot of the time for black women and brown women it tends to be right here under the eyes. So I sometimes have dark circles, especially if I haven't gotten enough sleep. So concealer conceals that, it hides that. So if you want to look fresh and awake and hide those dark circles, that's what concealer is meant to do. So that's put under here. And concealer can also be used to highlight, which is now brighten. So personally I use two concealers. One is to conceal those dark circles, and then the second one is to brighten. This I don't on camera I think you can tell this part of my face looks brighter than most of the other parts, and that's because I used a brighter concealer to bring some brightness here and right here. So concealer goes where light naturally hits you. It's called high points of the face, where the light naturally.
So the high points of the face, I may be wrong, but I want you to correct me. So I know you talked about the forehead, you talked about the nose, or the bridge of the nose. You've also talked about the chin. When doing the research for this show, I think I also read about around the nose as well being some of these points.
Yeah.
But so you could talk about that as well and maybe clarify if whatever I'm telling the folks here is probably not true.
Yeah, he's very right actually. So where I usually put my concealer is exactly where he mentioned, the forehead, bridge of the nose, and I also bring my concealer here around the nose, down here, and on the chin. So essentially the center of my face, and then the darker products go around the edges of my face because I want to bring my face make it like snatched. So so darker products, just remember they go outside in lighter products, they're inside, right here, right here, right here, center of the face. And then now blush is just to add color to back to your face. As like again I said, like you just don't want to look flat, so blush brings back a very nice flush, very nice color. And I like my blush very soft, not too harsh, so it's around here next to the concealer and next to the bronzer is here. Then I just put the blush on top of the bronzer and next to the concealer. So the blush, honestly, it depends with where you want to put it. Some people put blush here, some people, I like to put it here, and it's because I like to lift my face, like give an illusion of a lifted face. So when I put blush here, it pulls my face like this. Blush and concealer, they just pull my face like this. If I were to put it here, you'd see my cheeks would look a bit rounder, like they'd look a bit fuller. If you want fuller cheeks, then you'd put your blush here. So makeup really, sometimes you can kind of shape shift and change your face shape with what you with the goals that you want with your makeup.
So if you are listening to this episode as opposed to watching it, Natalie has been pointing around her cheeks a lot. So she's been saying here by pointing towards her cheeks,
Right.
and here by pointing behind her cheeks, here by pointing just below her cheekbone, here by pointing just below above her eyes. So you may actually want to watch this instead of just listening.
True.
That way you may probably understand more. I do understand that there is silicone-based foundation and there's water-based foundation. So can you tell me the difference between those two and what would make me want to use silicone-based versus water-based foundation?
Water-based foundations they're usually hydrating because it has water. And usually water and oil don't mix very well. We know that. So you'll find...
They don't mix at all, actually.
I forgot I'm seated next to a scientist. My bad. So, so water... Products with water don't have oil. So those ones are catered to people with oily skin, because if you have oily skin and use products with oil, it's gonna be a mess. You're going to produce a lot of oil, and the products also have oil, so it's gonna sit on your skin and you're gonna look very shiny. So water foundations that are water based or primers that are water based do not they're very well catered to people with combination skin. Maybe you have normal to oily skin, or maybe you have oily skin, so that would be a good pick for you. If you have dry skin, which is now me, silicone based foundations, now those ones do contain oils, and for someone like me who my skin naturally does not have that many oils, that's a product that would sit very well on my skin, because the ones that don't have oils, a lot of them tend to be very drying. Like you can see my skin just looks, it's missing water or it's missing something. So a lot of the time when I use products that are meant to be for oily skin, my makeup just starts cracking because I don't have enough moisture to hold such products on my skin. And also something I forgot to mention, something that's very important actually, undertones. Undertones are, it's just how you honestly what your skin presents. Like when you look at me, a lot of the time I look very golden or yellowish. So those are things you also need to consider when you're doing blush, because I didn't know that when I was getting into makeup. So sometimes I used to use red blush, does not look very flattering on me personally. Even pink blush, like straight pink blush, just does not look very flattering or good on me. So there's blushes that are like more peachy, blush orange. Those ones are now more flattering, than they're way warmer than like some pink blushes can be very cool toned and tan. Personally, sometimes when I put on pink blush, it just looks purple on me because it's not for my undertone. I think there's sometimes my makeup just used to look off and I couldn't put a finger on it. It was the blush. It's just the color was not meant for me, but it would have looked nice on someone else.
So are there colors that don't actually work with some people at all? That like, are there people who can't, for instance, use, is blue one of the blushes? Just wondering.
Purple, pink.
Purple, pink. So you don't have
orange.
like green or blue or...
Maybe that would be eyeshadow, maybe.
Oh, okay. So blush would be in the colors in the range of red, red
Yes.
towards purple, in that kind of
Yes.
range. Okay. Cool. So there's some colors that wouldn't work for other people. Then I think you've answered my question that way. I just learned something here. So we've been talking about all this foundation and makeup. Apparently, the lips are not featured here and the eyes are not featured here. They're totally separate. We're going to come back to that. I don't know if you have expertise in that, because it was an entire different ballgame when we're just talking right now. But I know that you guys use sponges. I think you call them beauty sponges. And you also use brushes. So is there a time when I use a sponge? Is there a time when I use a brush? And what are the differences between different brushes that are out there?
Guys, I want to give my flowers to Joab because he really did his research. I'm thoroughly impressed, and I'm enjoying this episode. I'm sure all of us will. Back to the question.
Thank you, actually. I'm flattered too.
Yes. So sponges are, a lot of the time we use them when they're kind of damp, not necessarily dry, because it makes it more softer and it's easier to blend on the skin. So sponges now, because a lot of the time they're wet, it soaks up some product. So when you want a product to not have as much coverage, you would use a sponge because it's gonna soak up the product from your skin, as opposed to a brush. A brush is just going to, however much product you have on your face, it's going to stay there. The brush is not really going to soak as much as the sponge would. So a sponge is for, maybe if you like natural makeup, a sponge does a good job in, moderating how much product is going to be on your skin by soaking up that product, as opposed to a brush. If you want more full coverage look, if you want your makeup to look like makeup, use a brush.
So we didn't talk about the different brushes that are out there. So can we talk about that for a little bit as well?
So yeah, when you see bigger brushes, actually, I have some brushes here that, okay, well, can
Yeah,
you
sure.
reach for them?
I can hand them over to you.
Yeah, so I have some brushes here, luckily. If you see the bigger brushes like these ones compared to these smaller ones, these bigger ones are usually for the face. Like this is what I'd maybe use for foundation because it covers a larger area than the smaller brushes. These smaller ones are used in very specific areas of the face, smaller areas of the face, and that would be around the eyes. And then these bigger ones, they are big enough to do the whole face. So if you see bigger brushes, those are mostly for face. And then if you see the smaller ones, those ones are detailed brushes, maybe when you're doing your lip or maybe the eyes.
And I see numbers on them. So the bigger they are, the bigger the number is.
No, the numbers are just, the company just names them for identification.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I see one of your brush has a very big handle and the others have kind of like paintbrush handles.
Yes, this one, actually you're very right. This one is actually used for exactly what he said. It looks like a paintbrush. I use this to paint foundation on. So I take foundation from somewhere and then I just put the foundation on the face. So I literally, what he just said, painting on the product.
What about this one here that has a very fat handle? Why is the handle fatter there than in the rest?
Okay, good question. So this one would be a foundation brush because of the shape.
I can hold them for you.
Yeah, this one would be a foundation brush because of the shape. This one, as I said, bigger brushes are used for the face. Let me start here. It looks more, the bristles are very densely packed. Like there's a lot of bristles in here and there's no space. That means when I put it on the face, it's not going to leave, I'm not going to leave, there's no unblended space on my face. So I'm going to, if I move here, it's going to blend everything that's here. Move here, everything that's there. Honestly, the handle is just because it's easier to hold it like that. If it was smaller, it would maybe fall.
Yeah, I thought it was functionally smaller. or or it was functionally bigger for whatever reason that they're meant for different uses. So there's a day that I was taking a stroll with my wife in what's the name of the makeup store?
Sephora.
Yes, Sephora. So I was in Sephora with my wife, and as we were walking past the makeup, so I think I always thought that makeup is normally comes in like caked powder, so you kind of like wipe it from the top with the powder from the top, and then I realized that there's this makeup that looks like a paste. It's in a tube that you squeeze out of a tube. And I want to believe that maybe there's some that are liquid. So can you walk me through the difference between these different types of makeup or is that foundation actually, first of all?
That would likely be a skin tint.
Oh,
if
okay.
If it's squeezable, it means it's light enough to come out through the nozzle.
Yeah.
So that would likely be a skin tint. Foundations are usually in glass bottles where you can pump because they're heavier. It would be.
I think that's what I meant. You pump it. I don't know if you were squeezing it, but they kind of look the same anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. So foundations are much heavier. Some come, like he said, now those ones are the liquid forms, and then now there's the cream forms. So usually now, as I said, if you see like a runny kind of complexion product, it's maybe likely a skin tint. If it's a foundation, it's a very light foundation compared to.
You can put this back.
Yeah. Compared to cream products, I usually most of them are usually oily, and they're usually in a compact kind of packaging, like a one that you have to open up and maybe dig into. So those ones tend to be more solid, like, or not very liquidy as much as the ones in the tubes are, or the ones that you can pump are. So so cream foundations or cream products tend to be in packages where it's compact, and some of them are they tend to be oily, and then the ones that you can squeeze out or something, most of them usually tend to be water-based and don't really have oil.
So when you put in your makeup, you're expecting it to be on you the whole day, right? How can you make sure that makeup will stick to your face all day long?
That's a very good question.
And the second question is going to be, if you were to go swimming, or if you go to a very emotional event and you start tearing, how do you still make sure that your makeup still sticks to your face after you swim? You don't go swimming and come out of the water looking like somebody different than the person who dove into the water.
3 things that can manipulate how long your makeup can stay on your face, or if your makeup is going to fall off if you come into contact with water or something. Primer, skin prep, and setting spray. Like, I really emphasized on skin prep, on having good skin prep so that your makeup can have something to sit on. That's 1. And then 2, primer. Primer really goes a long way in, it can be elongating the length of your makeup. It can be, some primers are even meant to grip, like they're formulated to hold on to makeup. So, and then there's primers which are meant to, because I know some clients, especially the ones who have oily skin, have trouble wearing makeup throughout the day, because most of the time you just get oily and now the makeup is just, it's dripping off with the oil that your skin is producing. So and the third thing I talked about was setting spray. So for an oily skin, because now this one is where most of us pay attention to, because for dry skin, we don't have a lot of problems like having makeup throughout the day. For oily skin, maybe that's where there's a little dance. So first, again, skin prep. I make sure that your skin prep is solid. I hydrated your skin, even if you have oily skin, especially actually if you have oily skin. A lot of like oily people with oily skin think that maybe I'm putting on too many products. So if I skip skin prep and just go in straight with like products that are meant to control my oil, I'm gonna be fine. But no, if your skin, especially if you have oily skin, is not receiving the nutrients that you would use from your products, your skin would likely produce even more oil to compensate, because you don't have moisture on your skin. So you need to make sure that your skin you're on a blank slate. Now you're hydrated, you're moisturized and everything, and then now you can go in with the makeup products. So you would use an oily skin primer, a primer that's catered to oily skin. One that I rave about, I don't think I will ever keep quiet about it. This one is free game I'm giving you, because I personally have taken a while to get to a primer that I can swear by, especially for oily skin girlies. Dissect Beauty Blurring Balm Powder. That's a primer that they use Absolite technology, and that just means that they I think they're the only brand, actually first and only brand to use Absolite technology, which ensures that, first of all, it's a hydrating product, so it does bring hydration to your skin. It controls sweat and it controls oil. I have personally never heard of a product like that ever, because most people usually think sweat and oil are the same thing. No, they're not. A primer that is dedicated to both handling sweat and oil, absolutely yes. Because as a makeup artist, before I got to that product, I had to buy a product that is a sweat primer and a product that is, and I also had to look for one that is dedicated to oily skin. So that specific products, hydration, sweat, oil, those ones are all, I know I'm safe with that. Like, I know for sure, even if you get sweaty, your makeup is not going anywhere. Even if you your oil is, you're going to start producing oil, it's going to suck the actual oil that's coming out of your skin. It's not that you're not going to get oily. The product's Absolite technology works in a way that it's sucking that oil and it's sucking that sweat, so it doesn't actually show up on your skin. And then now, fixing spray. Setting spray and fixing spray. There's a difference between setting spray and fixing spray. Most people usually think they're the same thing. Setting sprays are usually very watery. It's just what you use to make your makeup look not powdery. It just melts down your powders and makes it look like skin. And then a fixing spray usually looks like an aerosol. It's very it's actually an aerosol spray. It looks like a hairspray actually. It comes out exactly like a hairspray. So there's fixing spray that are dedicated, they are waterproof. So one of them is like one size, and like even in their marketing, they usually you can see their CEO going underwater, like they're going swimming with a full face of a lot of makeup, and he comes out and the makeup looks exactly the same. Like, it's not dripping off, it's not anything. So that's that joke that people usually say, take your girlfriend out on the first day to see.
Yep.
We hacked it. It doesn't work anymore.
So we are doomed, eh?
You take us as we are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So skin prep, primer, and a fixing spray will get you. Yeah. So the fixing sprays are usually waterproof, and so even if you go swimming or even if you're rained on or something, your makeup is not going anywhere. And then also it elongates the wear of your makeup, so you can wear your makeup throughout the day. As long as your skin was well prepped, you're not gonna crack. As long as you've used the right primer for your skin, you're not going to get oily and your makeup drips off your face. As long as you've used a fixing spray, you're good to go for swimming on the first dates.
Hey, that is dangerous and nice at the same time. But I think then you can, be free to do whatever you want to do. Yeah. Okay. And is that available also for people like who don't necessarily want to put on makeup, but they just want to take care of sweat on their face or what on their face? And I'm thinking about, let's say, ladies who have hit menopause and they just want to. They probably don't want to put on makeup, but they want to clear the sweat that that appears on their face when they have hot flashes.
Yes, actually, very good question. The same product that I mentioned, the Dissect Blurring Balm Powder, that's Absolite.
Hold up. What do you call it again?
That's a brand, the name of the brand.
Can you repeat the name?
It's called the Blurring Balm Powder, but the brand is called, it's a DMB, Dissect Beauty.
Dissect Beauty Blurring Balm Powder. Damn. Okay, I nailed it.
Yeah, so actually, some people who don't even use makeup wear it, maybe like on the thighs. I know some people get sweaty on the thighs, especially during summer. You can even use on the thighs, maybe even to prevent friction. So it's an all-round product that is... the product is actually made in a way that it can be both a foundation and a primer. So it's a 2-in-1 product. if you buy, they have one that is a universal shade that anyone can use. So if like you're a man and you maybe get sweaty, you can use the universal shade. Doesn't have a tint or anything. It just looks like Vaseline. Like it's just, you just apply and it just disappears. And then the unique thing about it, it's a balm. Like it's almost like when you touch it, it feels like Vaseline, but then immediately it reaches your skin, it's a powder. It gets to a powder. So that's how it actually controls oil and sweat. So if you're oily, maybe I've seen even people on TikTok, some people on TikTok use it on their armpits. Yeah, so it's an all.
Oh, you can also use it on your armpits.
Yeah, so it's an all round.
And it's not gonna leave like some. I see some people put some stuff on their armpits and then they kind of like are white. Yeah, so it doesn't do that.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So yeah,
Good to
that's
know.
an all round product. And the Nasamyrix. Listen, like if you watch my content, you know there's not 3 days pass without me talking about that particular product because it's really that good.
Okay. There's something that you said that is very nice that I think would be important for people to know, that know where to match your makeup to. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you would look very weird because you didn't match it to the proper place. And also some of the products that you use under a camera, they look very, very strange. And I'm saying this because there's people whose photos I've seen, especially in weddings and stuff like that, and you look at the bride in the wedding and they are looking very, very strange on the photo. Maybe when you saw them in person, they look very differently. Mm-hmm. But when you look at their photographs, man, they look like the makeup artist didn't do a very good job. But thanks for telling me or letting folks here know that by using sunscreen, sometimes the pigmentation that in the sunscreen would probably have some sort of effect towards the light that is shining onto your skin.
I'd really like to mention about bridal makeup because that one is usually, most of the time, it's the most expensive if you get like it's the most expensive package that makeup artist can offer. And usually a lot of people are like, why do I need to pay a lot of money and you're just doing makeup on me like you usually do? Bridal makeup is entirely different. It's very different. So first of all, as he said, with him being very he's usually very camera, I don't know if this is a word, camera savvy, like he handles cameras all the time, so he's definitely seen that. I need to consider that I need to use a foundation that's first of all photographs well, and most of the time those foundations are expensive. So there's some foundations that I would not use on a bride, and there's some foundations that I would use like on a day-to-day client, because I know how the foundation photographs. I know some foundations look nice on photos, some of them they look very patchy. Even if you can't see it in person, a photo is going to pick that up. So I use very specific products for bridals, and that is more expensive now. And then even the amount of products, the primer, I need to make sure that your makeup is going to be there throughout the day, because I know you're going to dance, you're probably going to sweat. I need to make sure that your makeup is sweat proof. And what else? And even the skincare is much more intense than a normal client, because again, there's going to be a lot of activity. You're going to be under lights, photos, you're going to sweat. I need to make sure that you're comfortable, and I need to make sure that you're also not feeling very heavy on your face, because it's your day. You need to be completely comfortable. So those are some things makeup artists need to consider, and a bridal package is much more expensive than a normal one. There's also consultation, because for a normal client, you can just walk in and I do your makeup. For brides, that just will not happen. We have to do consultation maybe a few weeks prior. You come, I do your makeup, and then you see if you like it. Tell me something you'd like to change before your actual wedding. You don't want
to be doing someone's makeup and then on the day of the wedding, and then they end up looking, very strange.
Funny enough, ironically, my first professional client was a bride, and we did not do a trial. I just went there and did her makeup on the day of. Mm-hmm. So imagine how I was nervous, because I was like, I cannot mess someone's wedding up. First of all, this is my first professional client. Like she really trusted me, because to book someone for your wedding day to do their makeup, you need to have seen maybe 20 photos. You're sure, okay, this one, she knows how to do makeup on people.
Yeah.
She said, Natalie, I trust you. If you mess up my makeup, trust me, I will still post you and people will know Natalie just ruined my day. And I was
Yeah.
like, please. But thank God, I prayed. And actually, that the day I did my bride's makeup, the day before, I went to buy that Danessa Myricks Beauty because I knew that would be the only product that would take me and her throughout the day. Her photos would come out beautiful. Her makeup would stay out through the day. Even if she sweats, she's good. Even if she gets oily, she's good. I need hydration, she's good. Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy for your client that she had a great event, a beautiful day. Yeah, that's beautiful. Let's talk about the eyes and the lips for a quick second here.
Yeah, so eyeshadow is also, we also consider undertones. There's some like people who look very, very good with warm eyeshadows, like warm colors, like spring colors, like yellow, orange, brown. And then there's some people who, like, when they try to do, why am I even saying some people? It's me. There's some people I'm talking about. I look very, like, those warm colors really bring out the tones underneath my skin. And then when I use colors like blue, sometimes I can look very washed out. Like, it's like the concentration becomes entirely on the eyes and my face now looks kind of pale. I consider that when also doing makeup on someone. If you come to me with a look, maybe you want a very cool toned purple and I can see you have warm undertones, and maybe advise you and tell you, okay, I can find there's some, now that's the burden now falls on me. I need to make sure that even you want a purple, I can find a purple that's still warm and catered to you. But I'm gonna tell you that I can give you an advice and tell you you would look absolutely gorgeous. So these colors are very catered to your skin tone, but I can definitely still need to also look for a purple that's more catered to you, that's maybe leaning towards pink than the straight purple or violet.
Okay. So when we do the eyelashes, I know that we can use these machines that they call colors to color the eyelashes. So are those necessary, and do we have to use them, or and do we also use those on artificial eyelashes?
Good question. So I do have an eyelash color, but honestly, I can count the number of times I've used it. I've never used it on a client, actually. Sometimes I use it on myself when I just want my eyelashes. Eyelash colors make your eyelashes pop more. When I'm using...
Quick question. When you're curling your eyelashes, are you curling them upwards this way or in this shape according to your eye? So is it curling them this way or is it curling them this way to kind of like pop out that way? Okay.
Upwards. I prefer upwards because it makes the eyelashes look longer.
Okay. Yeah. And you can do this to your natural eyelashes as well.
Yeah, I do that with natural. I've never tried it with false lashes. I do that maybe when I just want a mascara day, but it's not all the time because sometimes eyelash colors are painful. So I don't use them at all on people. I just use them on myself, but I don't enjoy using them.
Why are they painful?
Because you can pinch your...
Oh, you can pinch your eyelid. Okay.
Yeah.
When people have their lipstick on, their lip gloss on, or their lip products on, and then they kiss, some of those products may end up in the mouth. Can I consider them harmful, and shouldn't be? Should we consider them harmful? So we shouldn't be kissing when people have these lip products on. What happens if I swallow the product?
I'm gonna give you a straight answer. I don't know. I don't know. But there's brands that they take that into consideration, actually. And some brands sell their products as it doesn't budge. Unless you use oil to remove it, it's not going to move. Even if you aggressively rub it, it's not going to move. And now I guess they had that in mind as well. Maybe if you're going on a date or something, if you kiss someone, it should be able to stay on your lip. Well, some of them work. Some of them, I find that's a very bold claim because it contains saliva. Maybe saliva has some properties that can break the actual lipstick down, because most of them just create a product to just sit, and maybe when you're eating it stays put and everything, but maybe saliva is something completely different that can break down the product. So I would say, to be safe, just take off
before you take out the lipstick.
Yeah, and I was telling yeah, even before we started also, like, Job was asking me, would you like some water? I said no, and it's like, are you sure? I was like, no, I'm not messing up my lip for water. When I want to take, personally, I feel uncomfortable eating or doing anything when I have my lips on. I'm going to take it off and then eat and then put it back on, personally.
Okay. When I'm hugging somebody, sometimes the makeup ends up being transferred onto me, mostly because I'm taller than most people. And, when hugging them, somehow their face will touch my clothing or my body. So how can we avoid that? Maybe there's no straight answer for that, but you could...
There definitely is a straight answer.
Oh, there is? Okay, cool.
So we go back to fixing sprays. Fixing sprays sets a film on your makeup. Like, when you're done with the makeup, you've done your setting spray. Setting spray, again, I said, and fixing sprays are two different things. Setting spray is just to melt the powders on your face and make your makeup look more like skin. Fixing spray is the one that looks like a hairspray, that it comes like shh. When you spray it, it just looks like a hairspray. What that is meant to do is it sets a film on my makeup, and I can actually see the difference when I use a fixing spray, because it looks more shiny because there's an actual film, and that is meant to keep my makeup on hold and not transfer onto other places. Like, it shouldn't transfer onto now a paper, or even if I hug someone, my makeup should still be intact. Like, my makeup should not transfer onto onto another person.
Okay. What are some specific makeup challenges, specifically for Black people?
Oh, I like this. This is a challenge that has been there for years, and honestly, we should not be even talking about this even in 2025. Like, it should not still be a challenge. The shade range in products, like when a company is coming out with foundations, and they're mostly thinking about like white people or lighter skinned people, and most of the time darker skinned consumers are an afterthought. Like, they're like, okay, we're going to release this foundation. If it does well, then maybe we can add darker foundations, and a lot of the time they're not even enough. Maybe they're going to add 3, so all those darker skinned people fit into a range of 3 foundations. It's not fair. It's very racist, actually. I'm not even and unfortunately, you'd maybe think that would only happen in places where, like, maybe darker skinned people are not so many. But even in African countries, like where I come from, Kenya, the range in makeup is so bad. It's so bad. So you find a lot of the time people actually use lighter foundations than them, and I don't put the blame on them, because I know they can't find darker foundation. That's just the problem. So I've been looking into how I can solve that problem personally, because it's been there for a while, and I want to start with my community. So something's coming up catered to having, especially in mind, darker skinned women who have trouble finding foundations, which should not be a problem for them at all. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay, looking forward to the things that are brewing behind the kitchen. That is beautiful. I know you've talked about some of this before. Maybe I'm going to ask, are there any common mistakes that you can think of real quickly that people make with their makeup?
Yes. You going in with too much products at once. Even if you like a lot of makeup on your face, if you like full glam, you go in bit by bit. Like, you go in adding product, because you can't really take away products from your face. Well, you can, but it's gonna be harder to do it, and it's likely to look more cakey when you do that. So you go in adding product step by step. That's what I do even as a makeup artist. As much as someone may come and tell me I want a full glam makeup look, I know how much full glam makeup takes, but I still go in adding product by product, because in my head I'm considering, does this look good in person and does it look good on camera? Because I'm gonna tell you this as a makeup artist and someone who does makeup quite often. Sometimes makeup looks good on camera and looks bad in person, or it can look good in person and it looks bad on camera. So yeah, I practiced with both lightings to know how much makeup my face takes in both lighting. So now I can do makeup in any lighting, because I know usually how much products my face can take, and that only comes with practice. When I was a beginner, I was buying, I know, like, you watch so many tutorials, like every tutorial I'm so convinced, oh yeah, this is what I need to get, and then I watch another, oh yeah, this is what I need to get, because everyone is saying different things and you don't know what works for you. Because first of all, I wasn't even like practicing on my face, I was just taking advice, because I can see your makeup looks good, okay, I'm going to buy that. You can spend so much money, you can buying the most expensive and most valuable products in the market, but if you do not know how to do it on yourself, or if you don't know if it works for you, it's just not gonna look nice. So I would say what I did, I used to buy cheap products and I practiced my skill first before buying the expensive products. So as I practiced my skill, I learned these few things that, you know what, like I can actually hack some makeup looks with like cheaper products, and maybe now I've known, okay, red doesn't look very good on me, because maybe I would have gone and bought a very expensive red blush, and then I find it just doesn't look good on me. But now, using like the cheaper products, I just found out I used to use even lipstick on here, because I didn't have that much money, I just used what I had. So now I found out I was a student.
Okay.
Still am. But yeah, don't break the bank trying to look like people on the internet. Sometimes, I'm sorry to say, but sometimes people do use filters online and you can't really tell.
And then these filters make them look like they have makeup on?
No, like they have makeup on, yes, but like after they're done with the makeup, they use a filter to make it look a very particular way, and you're trying to achieve the same look, but you don't know it's filtered. And this is I was talking about this with someone actually. I was saying I have a bone to pick with. I'm going to ruffle some feathers in the makeup artistry community. I've seen that like some makeup artists do use filters on their clients. Like you've done the makeup and then you use a filter. That's
in your photos.
Yes, that's, first of all, I can't imagine, like, that is, if I was the client, I'd feel really, really bad, because you've done makeup on me. What are you trying to say using a filter on top of that? Like first of all, I'd find offense in that, and then second of all, it's false advertising to potential clients, because they think that's what you're going to achieve on their face, that they're going to pay you money and then you're going to use a filter on top of your already done work. So I don't think that's fair to the clients and potential clients, and then I don't think that's fair to other makeup artists, because sometimes people come with very unrealistic standards, like, I want my makeup to look like this, and when I'm looking at it, I can see that maybe it has a filter, or I'm telling you, okay, I'm going to give you I'm going to use the same techniques and whatever, but it's not going to turn out the exact same way, because I can see under the eyes it's smoothened, and someone just doesn't want to hear that, because they've seen another makeup artist has achieved that particular look. And I'm not saying, and listen, some makeup artists are like professional makeup artists, like they can get that look without actually using a filter. But a lot of the time I can tell if the if the skin doesn't actually look like skin, first of all, if you have texture naturally, because I do have texture naturally, which means like I just have like bumps on the skin, or maybe I have dark spots or something. Makeup does not erase that. Like if I put on the makeup, it's not gonna go away. It's going to sit on that textured skin, on the same textured skin. So if you see a video of the before, you can see texture on the skin, and then after, it's just disappeared, and now the skin is smooth, the makeup looks smooth. It probably does have a filter. So also, keep that in mind, because it can really affect the potential consumer when you're thinking, I need to buy this product because it's going to make my texture go away, or it's going to make me look like a filter. So I think that is a problem that falls on us makeup artists, or like content creators actually, who may be using those filters and telling you, buy this product and you're going to get the same look.
So I know early on when you started the show, you told me why you do this, but I wanted you to tell me about your journey into becoming a makeup artist.
Okay, so I did take a class with I have a friend who's a makeup artist, and we became friends because I took a class from her. Like she was a makeup artist, and I reached out to her and I asked her, because I just wanted to learn how to do my makeup. I didn't know how to do makeup at all. So I took a class with her, and she taught me about like, where to place your products, what this does. And then that gave me a foundation for, okay, now I know, I kind of have the theory. And in class, we also she did one half of my face, I did the other, as she explained things. So, and that was a fun class that I took, and then now we became friends, sorry. And then I practiced my makeup, and the more I did it, I just had so much fun doing it. Even when I was doing like a very minimalistic look that you can't really tell that I'm wearing makeup, like I just used to have fun with it. And I was like, I'd really like to do this on like other people. So I started watching like makeup artist videos, and I just found, so I was like, if I can make someone feel how I feel with my efforts, like I've put in the effort on my face, yes, but if I can do this for someone else, that would be so, I'd be so happy. So I started practicing on myself more and more and more, watching a lot of videos, taking a lot of advice, but also filtering out maybe advice that doesn't work for me or on me. I started practicing. I did take a master class as well on professionalism and everything, being in the service industry, because as much as you can do makeup on someone, you have to have, there's relations you have with your clients, so you need to be approachable, you need to know how to handle a client essentially. So I did take a master class. So right now I'm a makeup artist proudly, and also just about to host my first class. So yay.
That's beautiful. Let me ask you, actually that you've been talking about this, I've been thinking about it. You're very successful on social media too. I mean, with all your work that is going on, I think you're very successful in your social media too. So if I may ask you, how has it been for you? I know that recently you were, Ira Star did repost your work, and I think you're one of the few people that L'Oreal is following. L'Oreal follows 9 people or something. Yeah. So you're one of the 9, and I actually like the fact that they're following you and you're in their line of work. So I think that is really beautiful. So how does this make you feel?
Let me tell you guys. First of all, the first, I consider it a milestone. There's a celebrity called Keke Palmer. She's well known, we've known her for years. Her makeup artist followed me a while back, and I was like, because she's called Kenya, so she followed me a while back, and I said, Wait a
I'm
damn
going
minute.
places.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Me? So I was like, Natalie, trust yourself. Why are you doubting yourself? Yes, you're that's good. You're doing that's great. And that was such a motivation. So we are actually mutuals. And then now Arasta reposted like a video of mine. Well, thing is, I usually get like told sometimes when I have short hair or when I have like braids, I get told I look like Arasta. So I did recreate her makeup look, and she saw it and liked and reposted the video. And then I was like, oh. So yeah, then my friends are like, I hope, like, I'm seeing one day that you're going to be, this is a prayer to God, from my mouth to God's ears. Maybe one day I'll work with her as her makeup artist. That would be a dream come true. And then yes, L'Oreal Paris East Africa followed me, and when I went to see their following, they followed 9 people. So I'm one of 9, and I was like, I'm really that girl. And then now with on TikTok, especially, like TikTok and Instagram, I think from last year I've had a lot. Like, I've had a bit of influence. Let me not talk down on myself. I have had a lot of influence, and now my base routine is something that keeps getting reposted. Like, I usually get tagged a lot with like maybe someone trying my base routine, especially my blush placements, which was like unique to a lot of people. They were like, oh, this is new, let me try this. And how I was explaining how to go about your blush placement and everything, a lot of people found value in that and started like tagging me. And there's also a girl who posted a video, and her video kind of I did go viral, and she was saying like, oh, I've been trying to get into makeup, and I just did my makeup, and only for it to look the same. What can I do? And a lot of people are tagging me, oh, go and watch Natalie Keyyy, go watch Natalie Keyyy, go watch Natalie Keyyy. And I was like, oh, you don't say. But so yeah, I'm very, very, very grateful. And honestly, I can't lie, I'm still fairly a small creator, but I'm grateful for the community that I've been able to build, because despite being as a small creator, opportunities have been, they've been knocking on my door because of the community that I have, and they're mentioning my name, for example, like on TikTok, or reposting things that I've done, or recreating things that I've done. And like maybe brands do get to see this name keeps coming up, Natalie Keyyy, who's this? So I'm extremely grateful for that, and I thank God, and I hope God blesses each and every girl who's reposted or tagged me, because we're going places.
Great.
Yeah.
I like the motivation and the psych.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that you're staying humble and saying, I just have a few days, I'm just a small creator and all this. But let me tell you, Natalie, I think that you are actually a star. And, I actually like the way you are navigating this internet fame that is following you. But let me ask you, how do you get to stay authentic in the face of all this that is going on? How do you deal with criticism? Probably sometimes you're criticized. How do you deal with criticism, and how are you able to stay authentic in your work?
Good question. I started a new Instagram account when I came to Canada, but I used to have a different one that like had a bigger following, and I wasn't very comfortable with it. I don't know why. I just felt like I think I've mentioned this before. Like, I was just doing things because I know it's like camera gold. Maybe I'm doing like, maybe tomorrow I know maybe we're going ice skating, and that's the only time I want to post, because like I'm doing something fun, I'm doing something exciting, and the rest of the days maybe I'm at home, or I'm going to school, or I'm just chilling, not doing really anything. And then it's almost like when I'm going out, or like when I'm doing something quote unquote exciting, it's like a high for me, like, okay, I know this one will get like likes and then but then it comes back to you, and you're like, you only celebrate when you're doing specific things. And as much as it may have an effect on someone else, yes, it goes back. I'm the one who has to live with that, because like it's, I don't know, it just takes a kind of like a toll on you. You get burnt out very quickly because like you don't always have highs. Like it's just, your life is not like that. So I think I changed my approach and strategy towards how I present myself on social media, and I really, really appreciate that more. Starting a new Instagram account, I was like, yeah, I need a blank slate. So I built community with this one, and where like people know me as exactly as I am. Like if you meet me in person and online, especially on my vlogs, we are literally the same person. You know, like I'm not necessarily living for the camera. Like I think I mentioned this to Joab before. Now it's just like I'm living my life and a camera happens to be following me. Like it's just, you just happen to be there along the way, but it's not like I'm doing this because I need to show this. So
I'm envious of the strides that you've taken and the positive mindset that you have when doing this. And I like what you said a few seconds ago, that you are living your life and the camera just happens to be there following you along.
Yeah.
I think that's a gold standard that every content creator should probably be aiming for. And finding that sweet spot, that balance is very important. And I'm very happy that you found that spot for you.
yes, yeah.
What's the one piece of advice that you've received that you would consider the greatest piece of advice, and who did you receive it from? Take some time, and you can answer it.
Well, I mean, when you were talking, something came to mind, because I was also thinking about it yesterday. I definitely learned it from the internet. It was a quote I saw on the internet, and it was about people being experiences, and like it just meant like you don't necessarily like own people. And I think at that time, I was going through a heartbreak or something, and I was like, oh, I can't move on from this. People are experiences and you don't own them. Like someone does not exist solely for me to, I don't know, live. Like they're their own person, and we happen to have like a relationship, maybe a friendship or a romantic relationship, or it could even be a colleague. They are experiences, and you can definitely build relationships with them, but it's not that if this person, if we end up like, if it's a friendship and you end up breaking up, or if it's a romantic relationship and you end up breaking up, you're not gonna die. Your life does not end there. And
Okay.
I think this would be more relatable to someone who's younger than me, because I was definitely convinced my life cannot move on.
So the one line that you learned was from the internet. What did that one line say?
People are experiences.
People are experiences. So that's
Yeah.
one piece of advice. Natalie, every time someone sits next to me in this couch, I learn a lot from them. And I normally have so many questions.
That's great.
And I like the way you've answered the questions today.
Thank you.
But I have another question here that was asked from the previous guest who was on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And the question they asked you is, this may not be a relevant question to your life situation right now, but you are still going to answer it because it is the model of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Would you quit your job to start your own company?
I think if it makes sense for me financially to still keep the job, I might be able to still as my business is growing.
So keep the job and continue growing your business alongside your job.
I risk a lot of burnout, which I think a lot of us would agree. So I think it can take a toll on someone mentally, but if I'm not able to financially sustain myself without the job, I think I would continue up to the point I'm like, okay, I think now I can maneuver and, leave my current workplace.
Okay. I like that answer, actually. It's going to be very interesting when you learn who asked you the question. And in the tradition of the American White House, every time a president is leaving the White House, they write a letter for the next guy who's going to be in the White House. And so, since you're the president of the Couch Connect today, I'm giving you an opportunity to ask a question to the next guest on the show. Take some time and think about it. And when you're ready, you can write your question right here with this pencil.
Okay, thanks.
I don't see the question until I'm seated right here with the guest.
Oh.
All right. Good. Natalie, thank you very much for hanging out with me on this couch today.
Thank you so much for having me. I think this definitely been my favorite interview I've ever had. I've not had that many, but I think this is always gonna be my favorite.
Okay. Natalie, is there anything at all that you wanted to say and I didn't give you an opportunity to say? Or something that you've thought about as we're finishing the show and you wanted to share with the folks out there? You can let them know now.
If you've been wanting to, whatever you've been wanting to do, if it's start a business or go back to school or ask someone out or take a cooking class, whatever you've been wanting to do, take it. Take a bet on yourself and risk it, as long as it's a healthy risk, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone. I'm talking about, something that would help you grow as a person, or, get out of your shell if you're a shy person. Just take the risk. There's way more to gain than losing. Something I go by is fail until you fail to fail.
Thank you, Natalie. Once again, it's been great hanging out with you on this couch.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And who knows, maybe you're going to grace us with your presence again a couple of days from now or a couple of years from now. I really do wish you all the best in your dreams and your ambitions as you continue growing Natalie Keyyy, the channel, the brand, and maybe the show, since you're going to have one, I'm sure, at some point. So all the best as you navigate this journey.
Thank you so much. And all the best to this channel. Guys, give your flowers to Joab for being consistent. I notice it and I always say it. So for consistency's sake, if you reach this point in the video, please comment consistency.
Thank you very much. And, to add on to what Natalie just said, if you made it this far in the video, it means that you probably found this helpful. So do support us by subscribing to this channel. And do like this pod as well. And if you found this helpful, do tell your friend and tell them to tell their friend too. This has been the Couch Connect. Till next time, do take care.
Bye.
Kwaheri.